Testing. See if this works now. Cool. Hey guys. So I'm Street Guido, also known as Frito, and it's the day after the election, and we did a live stream last night. And today I'm going to start doing a little bit of, checking around the internet, see what's going on, seeing what the end results were from last night, doing a little recap. Obviously, we know that this is going to the courts now, it seems. So I'll be going over some information regarding that. And just showing you generally what I'm doing, when I'm looking at things, researching, all that good stuff. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy my little deep dive, whatever I end up doing. I'll be doing a little bit of work here in the office for Scriber. I am a Scriber contributor, so I have my own brand, obviously, on the Scriber TV network. So you should definitely subscribe to our channel. We got a lot of good stuff coming here soon. So anyway, I'm going to actually, maybe I'll put on some music in the background. We'll see if that works. I got the live chat up too, so if you see anything that you like, you want me to look at, type it in the live chat on Scriber TV's YouTube channel. I'll be watching that for anything that comes in. So let me know. So, one thing I found really interesting last night was this Protect the Results page. It was actually being promoted by Now This. So if you were to go to Now This, which is supposed to be an independent, or not independent, but, a news organization, they're actually advocating for this count every vote thing. So that's pretty interesting that a news company would be doing something like that. Let's see if I can find the tweet. Yeah, this was a really interesting thing too. Poll watchers last night, they were swarming this ballot center in Detroit. Somebody earlier was showing that they were rolling in coolers. They didn't necessarily know what it was that they were bringing, but I also saw that you can see right here they're covering up the windows so nobody can see inside. But now this, very, very interesting in what they were doing. See if I can find it. It's like way late last night. scroll through this whole thing. Right here. 15 hours ago. So they posted this tweet. Very interesting. They said Trump was rambling, whatever it was. I'm going to keep this as nonpartisan as I can and just look at things people are saying out there. I'll try and keep my opinion out of a lot of it. I just find the state of politics in a general sense is super interesting right now. Obviously, Scriber News, as a nonpartisan news company, is not saying things like this. Whereas you see companies like Now This injecting a lot of what they believe, their opinion, all that, which is entirely out of bounds. They should not be doing things like this and showing themselves as a news organization. So you've got a rambling 2:30 a.m. press conference loaded with false claims. We don't even know if it was false or not, but a lot of things were definitely a little bit weird, to say the least, such as stopping counts at certain times. You know, you got Florida out there, and Florida's always historically been this weird place in a general sense, but they somehow managed to get their entire vote total in. But you've got states that have always been more or less reliable, just totally shutting it down for some reason. So after they go through this tweet, they say, providing no evidence, Trump claimed Democrats are committing major fraud to steal the election, with millions of votes yet to be counted. He pronounced, as far as I'm concerned, we already have won. More than 100 Americans voted early this year, a record-breaking number, and a majority of those were cast by mail. So, the further you go into this, you actually see what they're saying about when it should be actually counted. And then, the last tweet in this thread, Trump has repeatedly demanded that counting should stop on election night, but even in years when it's been possible to quickly project a winner, a full count has never been completed on election day. Nationwide protests organized at Protect the Results are planned Wednesday. They link to this page. And on this page, these people have already said, if you come down here, they're basically already organizing, and this is weeks ago. So if you look at the map, even in like all these, all these states, the ones that are definitely going to be pushed to the courts, you've got Minnesota, you got Wisconsin, you got Michigan. Look at all these events they have planned. It's like literally protests across all of these. Pennsylvania, come down here. North Carolina's got a ton. Obviously, Florida doesn't need it, but they just want to add to the craziness because they're Florida in a general sense. But I might try and get out to one of these out in the OC County, because if you go down here, they've got a ton of them. And if you were to actually, let's say, click on this one, so Orange County, and I want to RSVP. Takes me here, and they've already decided that they have all these days through the end of the week on Sunday that they're going to do protesting wherever it may be, but you got to sign up in order to figure out where the event's actually going to be. Hold on one second. And I'm back. Sorry about that. So I'm back. So, can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1. Oh. Can you hear me? All right. So, like I was saying, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? We're still working all this stuff out, but oh, there we go. It's better. So they've got all these things going on here across the country, which is really crazy. They've already got it situated because they're going to mobilize for the next month. It's going to be out of control, I think, across the country. This is going to go on for probably another 2 months. If you watch Joe Rogan with Tim Dillon and Alex Jones the other day, he actually was talking about how there's going to be 79 days of hell. And after last night and coming into this morning, I definitely think he was right. Just going over the map now. I'm going to go and check it out. But, you know, you've got Biden right now sitting at 264. It's going to get very dicey here, I think, over the next couple months. But, like, come down here. So earlier today, they called Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan. So it's really going to come down, I think, to Nevada at the end of the day. You look on this map, it looks pretty likely that Trump's going to end up winning Pennsylvania. It looks like he's definitely going to end up winning Georgia, although it's getting closer here by about 100,000, no, what is that, 60,000 votes-ish. You got North Carolina. That's still being counted, but it's sitting at $80,000 votes to Donald Trump. So, you know, in these 3 states, if they still go, you've got Trump sitting just shy. But this Nevada sitting out here at 6 puts Biden at 270, which is what he needs to win. So you've got an essential major split in the country between electoral votes. But looking at Nevada right now, it's only a .6 difference. It's been trending at an 8,000 vote difference this entire day. So who knows what's going to happen with that? But I can't imagine that that might also get pushed to the courts too, just because you don't know what's going to happen. So I wanted to look at Wisconsin. They got 99% in, but it's a 0.7% difference. So that is absolutely going to be challenged in the courts. It's going to take a couple weeks probably, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on that they're talking about right now. You got Michigan. They're separated by 0.9%. So again, that one's going to get challenged in the court. So that'll take a couple weeks. You got Minnesota. I believe that was, it was closer, but now it's way out of reach. So that one's definitely not going to go to the courts. But I think you're going to see, I think they've already decided that they're going to challenge Pennsylvania. I'll find some information on that one. But Wisconsin, Michigan, potentially Pennsylvania, and Nevada, I think, are going to make the difference here on who wins or loses. We don't necessarily know, but it's going to get very interesting over the next couple of weeks. So as a news company, it's great, and for making content, it's amazing. But for the country, it's going to tear us to shreds, I think. So hopefully that isn't the case, but it's definitely going to cause some issues across the country. A couple of the other things I want to point out were regarding the Senate and the House. So, let's look at the Senate race. So right now it's 48-47, but you got 5 out there, 5 seats. So Republicans, if you go down at the key races, you've got Alaska. It's still 50% in, still to be decided. You got a Republican winning there, so that would make that 49 seats. Come down a little further, you got Georgia. That one, again, 96% in. So that'll make it 2 seats, which is 50. For Republicans, you go down to the other Georgia. It's a special election, so they're going to have another vote, but this is just a runoff, essentially. But you can see here from the numbers, top 2 vote getters, Republican, Democrat, and the third is another Republican. So you can assume that this one's probably going to end up a Republican senator as well. So that would put it at 51. You come down a little further, you got Michigan. Earlier today, this one was Gary Peters who was winning. So this actually flipped over, but again, they're separated by what looks like 10,000 votes. So this could potentially be another recount in Michigan. That's why I think that Michigan is still up for play, even though it's been determined that Joe Biden won it. I think that this is probably going to be one of the more contentious court battles that Trump's going to play. So let's assume that John James ends up pulling this one out too. That's another for the Democrats. And then if you look a little further, you got Tom Tillis and another Republican. So of the 5 races that are going to go for the Senate, it looks like all of them, if not 4 out of 5, are going to go to the Republicans. So for Senate side, you're looking at a minimum 52, at a maximum 53. So as of now, the way that things are trending, you've got Republicans that are going to maintain the Senate and pick up, I believe it's 1 or 2 seats. Let me look, make sure that's right. stay the same. If not, they might lose one seat. Another thing to look at is the House side. The House side is super interesting too. So let's go to the House and hit subscribe on Scriber TV if you like Scriber News, because we would love to monetize our YouTube channel, but we need to get to a certain threshold of subscribers. So hit that subscribe, like. Hopefully not a downvote, but hopefully I don't do too bad for you guys. I've never live streamed myself, so I'm trying to practice. So you get the House races, and the Republicans are down right now 15 seats. But if you actually start to go through some things, you might start to see some really interesting trends. So, Alaska here, you've got them trending. So again, that's a seat that they're going to pick up. So let's see if I can add these things in there. Alabama went mostly red, except for one. Arkansas pretty much went entirely red. You got Arizona. You got one Democrat winning that. You got a second one winning, but this still could change because it's separated by about 0.5%. So that's 2 seats. Let's just assume everything goes the way it is right now. I'm going to write this down so I can start tracking it. We will do this together. I love spreadsheets, by the way. It's pretty amazing. Alright, so right now we got 203 to 188. 188. And 203. So in Arizona, we got Alaska with 1, to the Republicans. We got Arizona with Arizona with 2 to the Democrats. Arizona with 2. Well, let's say that there's one out there that could flip because it's very close. Alright. California's kind of interesting. You got McClintock here. He's got a 5% lead. So that would make, let's see, 1 for the Republicans, 2. I'm going to go off the assumption everybody goes the way it's going right now and they win. So that's 2. You got 21 here, that's 3. Christy Smith, but again, this is pretty close, so I'm going to give it to them. So that's a 1, but a 1 I'm leaving off because it's very close. The Democrats going to win 34 because they call this a jungle primary. Top 2 vote getters runoff, so 34 there wasn't an option between a Republican or a Democrat. You've got Young Kim. This is still very close as well, 0.5 with 87% in. They're separated by about 1,300 votes. So I'm going to put another one here, but this is too close, so it could flip. 42, that looks pretty out of range. So another one for Republicans. 5. 48. Again, another close one. This is out in Orange County. It's been a really interesting race because they are running incredible a number of advertisements on YouTube. It's like one or the other. You always see something, and they're all negative. All of them are negative. So they're separated right now. 1,900 votes with 93% in roughly. So that's another for the Republicans, but it's close, so that could flip. Daryl Issa, he's probably going to win. So that's another Republican. It's 7. And that's that. That's state. So again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 races going in California still. I want to check on Arizona again. Yeah, Arizona's got the 1, but they've got another that could potentially flip here. Yeah, that's a Dem flip potential. All right. Colorado. They're all set there. Connecticut's set. All blue. Delaware set. Florida. I think I saw one here earlier. Nope. A couple interesting races here that did not go the way that they thought they'd go. You had Laura Loomer got absolutely smoked in her race in Florida 21. They thought she was going to do very well, and she raised a lot of money, but she lost by 20. So you've got another one up here. It was Anna Paulina. This was another very contested election that Anna thought she was going to win. She didn't do as well. She lost by about 7%. Sorry, 6%. Georgia's got another one in here. Georgia's got 100% in. I don't know why this hasn't been decided yet, but this should be a Democrat. Democrat in 7. That's that. Hawaii. It's obviously blue. Iowa. This one's again close, but it's a Republican. It's very close, so I'm going to call it a flip potential because they're separated by 0.08% or 300 or so votes. Idaho's taken. Illinois, I think I saw one in here. Yeah. Again, this one's very close. Illinois 14, so that's another flip potential. You got this one too. This is a Democrat, no flip, because that's 100% in. Indiana's taken care of except for 5. This is a Republican, 99% in, so that one's taken care of on that end. Oops. Kansas is done. Kentucky, done. Louisiana, done. Massachusetts is done. Maryland is done. Maine is done. Michigan here. So Michigan looks like got 1 for the Republican. You've got 1 for the Democrat. You've got another 1 for the Democrat. And that's that. No flipping potential there. Minnesota, there's still a few there too. Jim Hagedorn. So you got a Republican there. Looks like they should have called that a while ago. You got a Democrat winning. Yep. You've got Ilhan Omar. Really did well. She won by over 150,000 votes. You got Missouri. Missouri is done. Mississippi's done. Montana's done. Got North Carolina. I think I saw one in here earlier. Nope, they're done. North Dakota, done. Nebraska, done. New Hampshire's done. New Jersey had 1. This one's interesting. It's Jeff Van Drew. He was the guy that switched parties. So he's actually probably going to win. He's up 10,000 votes right now. So he's going to maintain his seat. No flip potential on that. Yeah, that's that. We've got New York, or sorry, New Mexico, done. Nevada, there's still a couple here. Both of these are trending towards Democrats winning, so no flipping. We'll assume no flip there. We're only going to flip potential on those that are like 1% or so. You've got New York. I saw a few in here. So Lee Zeldin, Andrew Garbarino, sounds like garbanzo bean. So you've got also George Santos. Doesn't look like those are going to flip. So here you've got 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat. You've got Nicole Maliotakis. She's probably going to win on that, so it's 4. AOC here crushed her opponents. She won by 38.2%. Here's another one. So these are 2 Democrats that are going to win in 18 and 19. So you got Claudia Tenney. Looks like she's going to win. I don't understand why none of these have been called already, because they're 100% of the vote in. John here. So those are 2 Republicans. What's that for New York? Ohio. Ohio's all done, counting their votes. Oklahoma. Yeah. Oregon. Done. Surprisingly, not a lot of rioting out in Oregon last night. Thought there would be. Pennsylvania here. So you've got a Republican winning, 2 Republicans, so they're pretty separated. We'll just go with the 2 there. No flip. Got another one here. Scott Perry's up 13%, so we'll count that one. Another one, Sean Parnell. This was a hotly contested with Connor Lamb, who was a incumbent, but they are a interesting district up there. They are more moderate, so Connor had shown himself to be pretty good moderate, but I guess they didn't like him to elect him again. So that's another Republican in there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Rhode Island's all completed. South Carolina's all done. South Dakota's done. Tennessee is done. Texas is done. No, maybe not. Oh, no. Texas, that one's pretty close, so I'm gonna say maybe because it's 99%. I don't think so now. And again, in order to maintain the needed threshold, you got to have 218 to win the House. So you got Texas, Utah, Burgess Owens came close, but no cigar. And I mean, it's still pretty close. It's at like 1.1, so that does have a potential to flip. So I'm gonna put that in the flip column. You got Virginia. Again, another close one, but they're 100% in, separated by 5,000. I'm going to call that for a Dem. Vermont done. Washington State. You've got a Republican winning there, and a Democrat winning here. So it's 1-1. You've got Wisconsin all taken care of. You got West Virginia taken care of, and Wyoming taken care of. So again, you need 218 to win. And what you're going to see here, let's see if I can get that, is that the states that still have open races, Republicans are going to end up, if it maintains itself, at 214, and Democrats are going to get 220. So you've got a pretty even split in the House, coupled with the Senate. So if Biden were to win the presidency, knowing what we know now, you're going to have a split Congress, and more often than not, if something is passed in the House and heads up to the Senate is probably going to say no dice, because they'll need to work things out together before they send it to President Biden's desk. As similar to what you have now, if Trump does end up winning, you've got, a split Congress. There's really no way that the Republicans will be able to flip this the way that they want to go. Even if they were to flip these two seats here, they'll still end up with 216. Likewise, if it goes the other way and these seats flip from the Republicans to the Democrat side, you're going to end up with a 224 to 210 split. So, even coming down and these two Democrat seats flipping, you've got Democrats with 218, the Republicans will end up with 216. So they are going to be very split. Democrats will definitely still be able to pass whatever they want in the House. Hopefully that means that they will have to work together to get things done. Who knows if that will actually happen, given the last 4 years and the animosity that the sides are having towards one another. But, you can only hope for the best that these people figure it out. So now, knowing what we know here, let's go back and see how everything's going. So we're still looking at 264 to 214. Again, the seats that are still out there, or the states that are still out there, are Nevada, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, as well as Georgia. So Alaska, this is always traditionally Republican country, so you can kind of count it that way. But I think that this vote is going to come down to Nevada. Um, and knowing what we know, you've got, this is really interesting that Washoe County, this isn't closer to Northern California, and up in this area, this is a very red area. So it does overlap a little bit, but you've also got Reno in this area, so another city. So you usually will see a lot of Democrat voters towards the major cities, as well as Reno is, and obviously down here you've got Vegas. It seems like Biden really dominated in Vegas area. But looking at the rest of the state, Humboldt County up here split really high for Trump with 80% in. It's pretty rural country, rural, if that's how you say it, rural country. But there's not a whole lot of people out there. Most of the votes that are going to be coming in are these blue areas. So, Eureka, everything's like 80% counted, 70 to 80% counted. Yeah. So the last remaining votes are going to come in on these little blue areas because there's so many. There's not a lot of people in these other areas that they can count it pretty quickly. Yeah, in this corridor right here, we got a bunch of people. So if it continues trending this way, it looks like Biden's going to end up picking up the state, as well as down here, unless Trump manages to flip it in some way in the last quarter. In the fourth quarter of Nevada, you'll see it'll probably end up being 60-40 splits. Or, Clark County going 52-45, 53-40, 45. It's pretty interesting, actually. So this is the state I think it's going to hinge on. 6 points gets Biden to 270. But again, you're going to have the lawsuits coming in Wisconsin and Michigan, as well as, again, I think, Pennsylvania. Yeah, North Carolina is really interesting, too, because it's about a 1.3. So I wonder if Biden will actually start challenging the closer it gets to possibly try and bring that one into play, as well as Georgia. So, if Trump plays the game, I'm going to assume that Biden will play it right back. So you could potentially see not just Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan in play, but also Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. So it could end up being 6 states that are being contested legally in the courts. Another thing we should probably look at is governor races. So Jay Inslee, he dominated up there in Washington. Utah, I believe I think that was Democrat. I can't remember, but they elected a Republican up there. I know some people that think that he's not necessarily a very good representative of the Republican Party, so they're not necessarily happy that he is the current governor that was elected, because he votes, or he is a similar kind of Republican to Mitt Romney. You've got Montana, which actually flipped. That was the one, not Utah, sorry. So Montana flipped in a pretty significant way. And you got another incumbent that was reelected in North Dakota, another incumbent that was reelected in Missouri, another one in Indiana, another one in West Virginia, another but this time an incumbent Democrat reelected in North Carolina, which is kind of interesting that Trump is winning in North Carolina, but they elected a Democrat for governor. Now, maybe North Carolina ended up flipping for Trump. John Carney was the incumbent in Delaware, and he was reelected. So, all the incumbent politicians in governor's positions, all but Montana, were the ones that stayed the same. Another thing we should know is that the polls were entirely off. So, don't ever listen to them again because it's garbage. It's all garbage. Like, you know, why would we listen to these people if they continue to get it wrong year after year? Anyway, one can only hope that the country ends up figuring this out and we unify in some way, but I just do not believe it's going to be, it's not going to happen. That's kind of weird. It appears that Arizona's still in play. I don't know why. Maybe I should update this. That's weird. Well. So Trump didn't flip any states, but Biden did. Wisconsin, Michigan. Yeah. Again, they're saying 86% is in. So in Nevada, I again think that this is going to be contested. 84% in, 3.5 ish. Georgia, 94% in. North Carolina, 95% in. Pennsylvania, 4% in. So it's going to be an interesting couple weeks, to say the least. So another interesting race that occurred was Huntington Beach area. You had Tito Ortiz, and he was elected to city council last night. So more and more people are getting into office. So it's pretty interesting that he ended up running and finding his way into the city council. So let's see if anybody's out there. You got Biden tweeting 26 minutes ago, keep the faith in the process. A lot on the right are saying that there's a coup going on, so who knows? Anyway, that was fun. I think that I'm done now. I just wanted to go through some of the results that are going on, some of my thoughts on what's going to happen. But I definitely think we need to unify in some way. And maybe the hangover will be some sort of brand that I start doing where I recap something. It's a hangout. It's a hangover. You know, it's a play on words. People love that shit. I also need to get comfortable in front of a camera, so. Hi. Yeah. So I just hope that everybody maintains composure. Don't go out and destroy property, whether your candidate wins or loses. But talk to people, see what they feel, understand what they're going through, not just yourself. Don't be selfish. Figure out a way to connect with somebody based on some common ground. You don't know. There's people out there that are suffering. You might be suffering too, but in judging somebody else, you're actually hurting yourself too. So let's find ways to unite. Let's go through this process together. Even if one or the other, declares victory in the next couple days, we need to figure out a way to get through this, because it's going to be very dicey and could tear the country apart just based on the election results being so torn in half as a whole, which will make the midterms of 2022 even more interesting. But, let's take each day as it comes and see if we can't get to a result that everyone's happy with. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. Welcome to Street Guido. My name is Street Guido, and thanks for the time.